Good evening once again, and welcome to the WGL EU Season 5, Match Week 7. We are still in Match Week 7, and there's still 3 games to play, and I'm sure they're going to be pretty darn good. Of course, I'm Lauren Panty Scott, your host for the evening, and I'm joined by my beautiful analysis, the one, the only, Ollie.
I'm liking how your introductions are getting more and more kind as we go through the season.
I'm being broken down.
Yeah, I think you're starting to lose your edge a little bit. I'd be worried if I was you. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to today's matches. I have to agree, I think everyone does as well, that last Monday's matches were absolutely fantastic as well. We saw, for instance, School Bus be bested by WSD Gaming 5-4, and I can only hope for the same today.
Yeah, exactly. The bar has been set extraordinarily high by that previous playday. However, I feel these teams will give us a good go. And of course, it's outside of the teams and outside of us too. There is a beautiful Melly who'll be taking you through all the social media ongoings and happenings. Melly, how are you doing today?
Thank you very much. I'm feeling great. And yes, we're here. Today is a new day full of tank madness, as I hope. And people, just tell me what you're thinking. Head over to twitter.com/WGLEU. Follow us, of course. We will provide you with live updates after every round. So if you won't be able to watch the stream, you still get updates and notifications about what's happening on our servers. So follow us, be part of our network, and of course get involved. Use the hashtag WGLEU to share whatever is on your mind. If you like Ollie's outfit today, just tell us. He loves reading from you.
The same outfit I wear like every week, basically.
Yeah, but it's still nice.
It looks
outfit,
majestic.
Isn't it?
It looks fantastic.
It looks majestic. Thank you very much. I'm appreciating the positive comments right now. It's
Starting
just
high,
very
we're going to go
welcome.
down.
Yeah, we're going to go down quite quickly, I do feel, but started well.
Well, people, as said, head over to Twitter and tweet us using the hashtag WGLEU. And of course, Facebook is another way of getting involved with us by posting on our timeline over at facebook.com/WGLEU. And of course, follow us there as well to get updates about the happenings in the World of Tanks universe regarding the WGL League, WG League. And of course, we have contests and team votes prepared for you. And I can't wait to check who's last week's MVP, actually. The week before it was Alien. And let's see who made it today. I will update you later about that topic. But the team vote for the next matchup should be online as soon as you're seeing this. Like the 5 minutes delay we have, keep that in mind. And there you have to vote for your favorite team and of course predict the exact scoreline for this matchup to get the chance of winning one of 5 bonus codes containing 500 gold and 7 premium days actually. So as said, tweet us, get involved, vote in our votings, be part of our network, and of course join our Twitch chat, and of course don't forget to follow us on Twitch. It's very important because you get a pop-up, a notification, an email, everything. We'll kind of basically spam you until you tune in, and so you won't be missing any second of our show.
Yeah, we basically like to force people to watch us. I think that's the best way to go about it as well, obviously. No escape, no release, it's just
No surrender.
tanks. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, as you mentioned a little earlier, there were some actual, not necessarily upsets, but some very good games we got to witness in that previous playday of this match week 7. And I think we all could do with a little look back at those because I'm certainly looking forward to it. I can imagine you guys at home are as well. Let's have a look at that highlight. Welcome to the WGL EU Season 5 Match Week 7. Eclipse is going in, gets the ram in. One more shell will do it. Eclipse is taking a lot of damage and actually goes down. That was sloppy play coming out. This has turned from a great situation to an atrocious one. And Never Give Up is going to have to. The ram comes in. Bonus Pro, turn it on a dime and pick up round number 1.
I don't think there's going to be enough time on the cap. Oh, there is with 3 tanks, and well, Catch Me's got to try and make this one work in the 2-5-1, and I think he's going to be able to do it. Catch Me's going for that ram.
Time.
Buys
Smart
time.
play. Smart play. Quite aggressively want to catch him out, and he does. Raging Potato just gets wiped off the face of this map, and now Bananic, Never Give Up and Co are really in trouble. Yankees down to a one-shot, goes down.
Guts Pro are going to clean the board with a 5-1 scoreline against the Volpana squad.
It's still fairly close, but here comes the cavalry. German, Bray and Hyber crest over that ridge, and not many left for DTQ. There we go. Malz is now being hunted down in the end. He's got targets left, right and center, and Hyber will be the one to come through, and Kazna pick up a strong win. He's near on mute in this game here. He's going to try and get some work done, but Rusted comes in, does the drive-by hit, and gets out of there. The mini Elian comes into the play, and Now Vetso and Co, and look at that again. Ruster just knowing where to be at the right time. It's a bit of an awkward battle to say the least, but the big boys are on the way and it will seal the deal as Nicholas Black does take him down. He knows his fate and does go, and Kazna will pick up the victory 5-1.
That will give the Dead Zone the ability to go in. Honor takes down Arclit.
Yeah, Arclit now gone. There's only really the Annihilator in this who comes in. Shadish pulls it off and now 2v1. One shot to... Oh, and Honor goes down! And Scorebus out of nowhere once again, turning it in these situations.
He's been spotted. Killipit has to hit it. Does find it.
Beautiful shot from Killipit coming in, but still Cap might have a chance here. One shot to make. He doesn't know where they are. He has not hit the shot, and it looks like WASD Gaming have done just enough to close this one out. They have picked up the win just at the very, very end.
My poor heart.
He can't take
My
it.
poor heart. I feel like just had like some sort of large burger. It's just not going to be working for me right now. Oh my god.
And for Ollie's sake, we pray to God that the GGWL played game today isn't quite as stressful. However, that was a magnificent game.
It was absolutely awesome. Probably my favorite of all, especially on Muravanka. It was super, super sick. As I said, 5-4. WSD Gaming coming back and taking the whole game, taking the 2 points actually. Schoolbus did walk away with 1 point, but I think, just to recap a little bit, Schoolbus are on the way up for sure, but WSD Gaming were just absolutely phenomenal. Whoever put that last bit in the video, by the way, I'm going to find you because that was mean.
It was perfect. But as you can see, that win for GGWL Play does manage to put them above Schoolbus there. So a good victory all in all. Even though they're fairly equal on points at the moment, the losses do come into effect and, it works out that way. However, at the top, it's getting very close here.
Yeah, Virtus.pro are just insane these days, and they're continuing their strive to the top, and I think they want to pick up a third WGL season and go into the offline finals in first place. Of course, that'll guarantee them a slot in the second day. Of course, WSD Gaming, no one have expected them to be in such a high-ranking second place. And Schoolbus have got a lot of work to do. We're going to be seeing other teams that have to do work. For instance, our first game is going to be GGWL Play versus Drilling Leprechauns. For me, GGWL Played is that team that has the potential to be a top 2 contender for sure.
I agree.
But they have to get this round, done and dusted. And I think they might struggle against the Finns.
It's hard, isn't it? You look at the rankings and you wouldn't necessarily believe it's going to be a tough game, but you've got to say, DRL do put up a tough fight. Even in the games that they lose, it's always been quite close. And actually, let's take a look at today's games to take you through the 3 we will be watching. So to kick off with, as you mentioned, DRL up against GGWL Played. So 11th up against 3rd. However, I believe that's going to be closer in the actual battle.
Drilling Leprechauns has this ability to knuckle down and put some real pain to these top teams. So I think GGWL Played might have a little bit of problems. I mean, they've been getting solid through the season. They started a little bit shaky, but they're certainly getting themselves together, and I think they're going to be a top contender. Of course, TCM Momentum next. Momentum's been struggling for sure, as has TCM Gaming. So that's going to be a game of attrition. Momentum certainly has the ability to win. But TCM Gaming should be in a top 6 position at the end of the season, considering their previous results and their previous seasons. Wusa and Utopia, I think that's my game of today because...
It's the closest game.
Utopia has been very, very good. I mean, they've beat Evil Panel Squad. They've been consistently getting stronger. They did get bested by Utopia, by Momentum in the last matchup, though, which could be a bad thing for them. We'll have to see how that goes, but it was still a 5-4. It was a close game. And Wusa have been kind of treading in the middle of the road, so they need to get that result as well.
They definitely do. But you guys at home, as Melly told you earlier, use that hashtag, get involved on all of those social media aspects, and let us know your thoughts on today's games. There is 3 to choose from. What's your favourite of the day? And outside of that, let's start focusing ourselves on the first. As we said, GGWL Played up against DRL. Now, in theory, not close. On paper, not close. But in-game, when it really comes down to it, I think there's a little bit of fight in DRL that could catch GGWL Played out.
Yeah, for sure. DRL have not had a great season, but I think they have that ability. I mean, they are a top team at the end of the day. They're coming off a couple of losses, I mean, against Schoolbus and against WHD Gaming, so make it 3 in a row, that would be disastrous for them. Of course, GGWP played are on the opposite end of the spectrum. They've won their last 3 matches against Wusa, against Momentum, against Evil Panda Squad. So they're on the up and up for sure. But still, you know, Drooling Leprechauns have been training a lot, as has GGWP played. It's going to go back and forwards. And what's interesting about GGWP played is that their sister team is Unity in the WGL, RU, and CIS. Yeah, their team manager YR actually manages Unity as well.
That's a good training partner.
So it's a great training partner, and it also gives us an inkling of what the Wargaming League Russia and CIS is going to be about and how they're going to play the game.
When is that league starting as well? It's quite soon, isn't it?
I'll give you that information as well. I mean, it was released on ru.wgleague.net as well, but it will be on the 21st of January. We'll be able to see the top Russian teams and teams from the CIS region play against each other. I'm really looking forward to it. So you know, keep your eye on GGWP played and how they play, and when you do get to watch that Russian league, make those comparisons.
I think that's the big thing here, isn't it? We get a bit of a glimpse into what we might be seeing coming up in what some may call the premium,
for sure,
you know, area for talent.
They won the last grand finals.
Exactly.
They get that title.
You can't dispute it, even though you'd say this league has the closest games. You'd say that the top 6 here, if not top 10, will have closer games than the Russian league. It's weird you see the comparisons in those sort of factors. However, if you were going to put your money on this game, with everything now in mind about GGWP played and DRL, where are you going to put it?
I would put it on GGWP played. They've been really, really good. I mean, our first map's going to be Himmelsdorf. Defensive side for GGWP played, I do believe. That will mean Drooling Leprechauns, the Finns, go on the attack. The next map after that, of course, we've got to play 4 rounds on this one, will be Cliff, where Drooling Leprechauns will be attacking first. But focusing on the first game, we can actually jump in now. Tank lineups are also locked in. We've got 2 5100s, 2 IS3s, 2 T32s, and a KV2 picked up by GGWP played. And for Drooling Leprechauns, 3 5100s, 2 IS3, a Waffentrager, and an M6.
So, welcome to the first battle between these two. In the south, in blue, it's DRL with those 5100s in play. In the north, on defense, it's going to be GGWP played, trying to lock this one out, try and deny any start for the Finns going forward. However, what are we seeing so far? Anything indicative of what we might see later on, or is it just a very generic beginning?
You can see Drooling Leprechauns immediately going to the left side of the map. I thought they would be sticking in the middle a little bit to try and, you know, give themselves a little bit more options. Do they go up that 8 line? Do they head back towards the hill? Do they go through the middle even? But no, they are going to put most of their resources over towards the left. That's not unusual, but we don't see it all the time. It's a practice tactic, and it does often involve the left side of the map. I mean, you've got to also remember, guys, in 9.6, the patch notes have just been released. The caps are going to change a little bit, and the whole team battle format and the kind of matchup of this map will be changing around. So this could be the last time we see Himmelsdorf played like it is. I imagine the northern area will be changed, so it's not so easy to do this campy style GGWP played at the moment practicing. But I want to talk about Message for a second, because playing that Waffentrager in previous matchups has been absolutely perfect for him. He's been able to do some serious damage with it, you know, hitting over 2k sometimes. So if he performs this round, GGWP play is going to struggle just to keep up.
I think it's going to be a big factor, and he's always looked so comfortable in this tank as well. It's something we've seen regularly appearing on that DRL lineup, constantly enjoying it in play, and even with all its slight downsides, or at least the balancing factors of that tank, he seems to negate it most of the time. But GGWP played are a very strong side, so I wouldn't be too surprised in seeing them being aware of this almost, or being, you know, at least cautious of its presence. Yeah,
for sure. They're going to be locking it down immediately. I mean, 1.1 KHP is not enough to really be able to ward off, for instance, the BL9. Even the T15 on that T32 will certainly do some damage. You can see the HE shells come raining in against Montiablo in the T32. The 298 millimeters of turret armor is blocking it, doing its job. Message just received the first shell from GGWP played.
And positioning like this is purely to complement tanks like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's basically to ward off damage, but Message can also do some good HE damage. We'll have to see how it works out. You do have to get a little bit lucky. I'm surprised that Drooling Leprechauns are so far over towards the left side. Message also receives another one. Also, his engine does go down. That'll reduce his horsepower by half, make him twice as slow. So have to see if that's going to make a big difference. I mean, one of the plus sides of this tank is that it's quite nimble. You can see he has repaired it, so he won't have that repair kit for later use.
I was going to say, and with DRL on the attacking side, if he wasn't able to repair it, or he decided not to at this point, would it maybe say they were going to go for the southern cap, but with it back in play now, with it all fixed up and ready to go, where do you see the attacking side really taking that final move to?
Well, there's only really one way you can attack the northern area, and that's basically pushing through the middle and the 4-line. Yeah, sure, you can come from the hill. We've seen Drooling Leprechauns use that before. I mean, last time they played against WCD Gaming, they won both attacks, so
yeah,
we have to see if they can repeat that one again. But through the middle was their classic area of attack, and I think they are going to go for that one, using the M6 probably as a battering ram. I mean, that tier 6 American heavy tank, not a lot of HP to play around with, about 860. 870 even, but it can potentially bounce some shots, and just the size of it and its ability to be a little bit faster than the TOG, for instance, does give it a good battering ram mechanic. It can take a lot of shells, it can block for its team.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that come into practice. Obviously we've seen a couple of TOGs, KV5s, a couple of different tanks toyed with to the purpose of blocking off, allowing others to therefore get the cap going. So interesting to see if DRL fancy that. We'll wait and find out, as Kirex will be making the play rather soon towards that northern cap circle. But Ron, Phoenix, International all away, and actually he's going straight around the corner, maybe just being a bit of a battering ram, as you said, he may be, and Wilkie moves in, gets the double shell connection there, gonna be hurting, but they will manage to fall towards International, but they're just not making damage. International stays alive, they lose 2 in this maneuver. This is a disaster, surely.
It's gone very badly. It went well at the beginning because the KV2 didn't get any penetrations, but losing 2 for only 1 of their own and so much HP is not good. But Wilkie is, message even is coming from the left side, from the bottom, has got himself spotted, so let's see if he can do any damage. But at the moment, GGWP played are staying in cover, and they're denying message those shells, which is really important. Phoenix Griffin also maybe trying to go on the rotate. Drooling Leprechauns are hanging on by a thread.
And look at the HP difference here at the top. Massive. And now Meritorious and FC Dynamo going to make the most of it by focusing down on towards Agenti, who's hit a massive amount of damage, but to make no odds at this point, as Sensei and Message are the last 2 alive, bearing in mind, Message wasn't in the fight all that much in this one. This should be a done deal here, as Sensei will fall, and Message now last man alive, not actually landing a single shot in this game. And GGWP played claim battle number 1 on the defensive side of Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, not convincing stuff at all from Drooling Leprechauns. I think maybe one of the most one-sided defending sides we've ever seen. Normally we see a quite close brawl where the attackers can actually take a round like that, but Message basically not being in the fight. As you said, 0 damage from him. Jack also...
Very rare.
Jack also doing only 41 damage. Yeah, extremely rare. I mean, Message has probably been one of the top damage dealers in the Wargame League Europe as a whole on Himmelsdorf, so extraordinarily rare from him. But I think they had a good start. You know, they didn't manage... The KV2 saved its shell for Wilkie. Obviously at 5100 you can actually penetrate with HU on the KV2. Didn't manage to do that, so he got into a safe location with only losing about half HP. So it was started off well for them, but because they couldn't push around and they couldn't do some real initial damage, which I think is one of their big problems, they couldn't do everything quick enough, and they basically got flanked really easily. So it was pretty easy stuff from GG played.
So now, I just want to ask you the question, would you ever pick that strategy of all going up that central line into the northern cap, excluding the Waffentrager, or Waffle Tiger, sorry, I should say it correctly, in comparison to the split? We often see, you know, a bit of a, not a 3-2 split or anything like that, but literally, you know, your heavier tanks, your IS-3s going up the center, and then maybe the 5100s coming around the side doing the damage. What are the pros and cons of deciding to go for that all-in play in comparison to doing a bit of a split there?
Well, it's just classic. I mean, you have all tanks in one position. You can direct all your damage in one area. You're not going to lose any coordination because, you know, of course, with 2 squads, you have to get the timing correctly, whereas with 1, you don't really have to. You can also force the cap as well. You can put tanks in there. You can force the other team come around, whereas you wouldn't be able to do that with two squads, because one of them will have to do the damage. And the other ones will have to go forwards and stop any kind of push onto them. So I think it's got its pros and cons. Personally, I think the split push is what's worked the most on the attacking side on Himmelsdorf. So I'm pretty surprised that they actually decided to go for an all-in. And Message, being all the way down south, not being able to get into the game because GGWP simply saw him, they spotted him, and then they pushed around the corner and dealt with the other 6 tanks from Drooling Leprechauns, which are sitting in that cap. So not great execution from them, but we'll have to see if they can correct their mistakes on the second round now as we do head into the game. Again, Drooling Leprechauns will be attacking and GGWP will be on the defense.
Yeah, and we are live into the server right now, into the battle, and battle number 2 coming up. GGWP leading currently with 1 round in their pocket. Is the first to 5, so there's a long road ahead. But have we seen any drastic changes, any switches up of tanks, or are we seeing the same thing twice now?
We're seeing the same thing twice, exactly. I don't think the lineups are really the problem. Very rarely the problem on Himmelsdorf. Yes, okay, the TOG wasn't great, but it's more a map of just basic World of Tanks abilities, blocking, focus fire, getting your timing, getting coordination correct, whereas it's not really about any kind of swanky moves. So that's what these 2 teams will be focusing on. Drooling Leprechauns this time all the way over towards the right side. They got 5100 on the hill alongside Message and Waffentrager. All the other 5 tanks down in the 8 line pushing up there. And this is, I guess, the second default tactic Drooling Leprechauns goes for. You'll see Message go up into A9. There's a bush there you can sit in. Make the shots through the houses, through the windows. Try and do some real damage, and if he has to, load HE. And then you'll see the other tanks now pushing up the Banana Road, push into the cap and try and get that one underway. So he's basically just Drooling Leprechauns coming from another angle.
Well, at least they're adapting. They're trying something new here. Let us know your thoughts. Hashtag WGLEU. Did you prefer battle number 1 or battle number 2? As at the moment, a little bit of caution now coming through. 5 minutes and 25 seconds left. DRL, the team in blue, on the attack, as we're seeing right now. Jack is taking their time. Are they just wanting to make sure they're not giving it away too early on? Yeah,
they're just not getting spotted. They're making sure that they're doing everything correctly. They've still got 5 minutes and 12 seconds left, so they don't really have to worry. But you can see International is aiming towards where he's expecting Drooling Leprechauns to come from, and so far is getting it correct. Prediction. So yeah, great prediction from GGWP. They know what Drooling Leprechauns is about. They've obviously watched those demos back. And managed to get that one, but Jack does manage to land a 1, no damage, but International doesn't make that mistake.
And I've got to say, I love these T-32s in play. You mentioned the one around maybe C2 in that sort of train station area, having its role there, but it plays it perfectly here as well. Big fan of it. I quite like it, maybe in place with the IS-3 that some teams may put there on occasion. And is there any benefit to having the IS-3 in there in its place, or is this the tank you genuinely want to put there?
I think the general consensus is that the T-32 is just a better hull-down tank. The IS-3 is good hull-down as well, but you don't really pick it for that. You have it there because it does a lot of damage in one shell, but it also can do hull-down jobs relatively well. But, gun depression, it's not particularly tall tank is a problem. It can get penetrated a little bit more easily on the top of the turret than the T-32, but International sees one from a Genti. That was a very high roll. Remember, the MX-5100 only has 300 average, so 399 is only 1 HP off the maximum he can do. So International now down to about half HP after only 2 shots is a good start for Drooling Leprechauns. More methodical, more logical.
Yeah, DRL needing that little bit of, not luck I'd say, but that little bit of a boost towards the damage. Otherwise, International does have so much sustain in this position. He can just take that damage for quite some time. However, now down to 840 HP. But bearing in mind, no one else from GGWP has really given up much. Ron's shown a little, but then again, he's not in a tank that you worry too much about. However, it's these guys you've got to keep your eyes on. And I just love the way they're playing this. Very patient, very cautious, and just making it DRL's game to make a move into.
Yeah, they're not giving up the chase. They're not being too antsy about their next move. But you'll see the 250-100s from Drooling Leprechauns down south probably make the first move, pushing around on that T-32. But Montiablo will catch them by surprise, but he'll go down very quickly. And now, if Drooling Leprechauns gets those other tanks, heading up north into good positions at the right time, they can actually split GGWP in half, and that's how you win on Himmelsdorf as the attacker. But it's been a pretty slow game. I'm surprised, but I guess Drooling Leprechauns are waiting for the right time, the right moment to go forwards, and they need to pick it correctly because at the moment 1-0 down after that first round is not a great start for them.
We are seeing the 5100 starting to move up. Is that at least the start of a play coming through?
Yeah, this has to be a start for them. I'm pretty surprised they didn't push on that T-32. Wilkie might actually head around there, the second shot caller for Drooling Leprechauns. And if they get this correct, this could be going well for them. Agenti does receive a shell, so they are going to go forwards. They are going to go for the attack.
This is what I expected that M6 to be used for, and Kirik's just positioning, allowing the others to get the cap started and have cover. And we are seeing Sensei in the cap circle now, so 2 tanks present, and the fold will have to come out from GGWP played pretty darn soon. Who's in the better spot here?
I think Drooling Leprechauns are. They have GGWP played where they want them. GGWP played has to go forwards. Montiablo in the T-32 is not the ideal decapper, but he will be able to get a good shot onto Wilkie. But Wilkie hasn't made a shell yet, so he'll have all 6. Could permatrack Montiablo, but 2 received onto Wilkie. That's going to be hard for him to get into this game now.
Yeah, and 20 seconds on the cap. It's going to force a bit more of aggression out of GGWP play to really commit towards this. Wilkie and Snake Guy Finn making a good run out of it. Jack does get one. Finally, the reset did come through, but not for much. 16 seconds still to go. Snake Guy Finn still alive, and GGWP played being held off for now, but that HP is getting very low for DRL here.
Yeah, and the resets are continuing coming in. Jack receive a couple of shells, and Montiablo probably will be able to take down Snake Guy Finn or Sensei. Sensei, I think, only has, well, he's got 3 shells left, so he will be able to take down Montiablo, who won't be able to peek. So Drooling Leprechauns are really, really hanging on right now. It's going quite well for them. 20 seconds left on that cap, and they do even up in terms of tier 8 tanks. As I say, that's Jack falls, so GGWP play will have to go forwards and stop message.
Let's see if they can do it. Time for that final push, that final play, and the delivery from Ron was perfect. Griffin comes in, gets one on the move, taking away everything from DRL, leaving just Agenti and Message alive. Substantially better, but just not good enough. 30 seconds now remain. Agenti, there's no point to running at this sort of stage. You're on the attacking side. You're going to have to go down one way or another.
Yeah, he's only on about 121 HP, so 1 shot for every tank on the side of GGWP played. So game over, 2-0 for GGWP played. And Drooling Leprechauns failing twice. I must say, not a great piece of execution either time. Agenti falls via international, 2-0 GGWP played.
Big performance then as well from GGWP played, holding their nerve quite substantially. Didn't seem too flustered by DRL making that play. It was getting down to 20 odd seconds at points, and then they started making the move when it was really necessary. It's showing for a very good team here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is GGWP played, they need to think about alternative plans. Of course, they knew how long it would take them for them to drive in and stop message there in the Waffentrager, but they need to account for things like D-tracks and maybe an Amarek or 2. So good play by GGWP played. Again, Drooling Leprechauns lacking a little bit of execution. Wilkie didn't do any damage. Kirix didn't do any damage, but Kirix was of course playing the M6. And I think they can change their tank composition slightly. The 3 AMX 5100s didn't seem necessary. I think they could have picked another IS-3 and been a little bit more, in the battle with a little bit more HP and more armor. But they went for that second 5100. At the end, it was pretty useless. It was on reload after only hitting 3 shells. So Drooling Leprechauns, they need to think about what they want to do to improve that attacking side of Himmelsdorf as they go on the defense now.
Yeah, it seems that they theory crafted some ideas about how they wanted to do it, and in practice runs it seemed to go okay, but then when you do go for that final execution, you think, okay, we've got it all locked down. You need to take into account some of these other teams, and GGWP played just looked prepared. They looked like they know what they're doing, and they handle it well. Clearly, all that training with their sister team is paying off. However, they will be switching sides now. Now, GGWP played have always been fairly strong on their attacking sides. I wouldn't say the strongest, but certainly have a good track record to this point. What would you say they're going to do here if we're going to look at a scoreline? Will this be a 1 pickup, 1 loss? Or where do you think they're going to kind of come out?
For sure, I prefer GGWP play on the attacking side than I do on the defensive side. Not necessarily because they get better results, but it's harder to attack, especially on Himmelsdorf, and it kind of gives you a good showing of what the team is capable of. I mean, they didn't really get stretched in those 2 rounds. They will get stretched by default now as the attackers. So really looking forward to this. Lineups are coming in: 3 IS-3s, 2 5100s, a T-32 and a T-37. That's from GGWP played. So that T-37, the tier 6 played by Ron. Clearly going to be a fast tank. It's going to be darting all over the place. I mean, won't be able to do a lot of damage, but if they do go for that split push, or even if they just go through the middle like Dream Leprechauns did in the first round, they'll be able to send that T-37 behind just to pester, just to annoy.
Well, we've seen Bulldogs coming into play now. We've seen a 1390 even being picked
that didn't
up.
really work.
Yeah, that wasn't a great example, but the Bulldog wasn't too bad. It certainly had its advantages, and obviously Na'Vi back in the day, well, not back in the day, but back when this first became an option.
Yeah, the Ural still, they did use that one. I'm actually pretty interested to see what they're going to use in
That's
this
my
map.
thoughts. I want to see how Na'Vi have kind of adapted through. Obviously, these guys will be watching all the different leagues, seeing how teams are playing it, practicing themselves. I want to see what they come out with, because Na'Vi are trendsetters at times from the Russian region. People will notice what they play and then adapt off the back of it. But we'll have to wait and see if they actually come out with anything we haven't seen before. We saw a lot of difference when we were doing the SEE, if I'm not mistaken, when we saw a lot of hill play coming in. So there's a lot of theories out there at the moment as to how Himmelsdorf may evolve. But I think a lot of the teams want to stick with the secure for now, and then maybe look at advancing tactics once they feel comfortable. This is still very new to some of them. We are only in match week 7. That may not sound like the earliest point, but considering this is a whole brand new game mode, these teams are still getting ready for it. So I believe the teams are almost ready in this one. They will be getting underway very shortly. Currently, GGWL Played are leading 2-0. Now, you'd say on paper they are the better side, but now it's time to see how really they can push this one even further forward. It will be DRL on the defense and live into the server. What do we make of these lineups?
I like GGWL Play's lineup, of course. Looking towards Ron in that T-37 to see what he's capable of. GGWL Played are getting pretty famous now for putting their team captain, their shot caller Ron, into a small tank and seeing what you can do with it around those corners and on the flanks. So that's for GGWL Played. Dream Leprechauns, they've got a T-29, they've got an IS. T-29 I'm kind of expecting, but the IS does suggest that they want to be a little bit more mobile. They want to go forwards a little bit. Of course, is capable of doing 390 average damage, which is the same as the IS-3, but just has less penetration. So let's see what exactly they want to do with it.
I like
Message
this.
in a great position. Clearly had to get boosted to get up there, but he will be able to get the shots on the cross. And just wondering, because he is so static, that he's probably going to be using binocular telescopes to give him that plus 25 view range.
And this is what we were saying, a lot of teams trying new stuff out. Griffin and Phoenix on the hill, and we've got Message in a very unique place, clearly working this one through. A couple of spots coming out. Message will have an idea where they are. First shot does come in, 2 now. Connecting Message. Just got caught out and blown up in the first minute. Phenomenal play coming out from GGWL Played. Cautious, careful, and there is the prize.
I can't believe that. I mean, he just got absolutely wiped off the map, literally, in a position which no one would have expected. He got spotted. GGWL Played basically just bided their time, and they all shot at the same time, basically leaving no room for Message anymore, and he got wiped off the map, as I said. And we'll give GGWL Played a good way now into this game, pushing forwards. Tier 8 tank advantage. Wilkie also receives another one. Clearly, the hill is where they want to come from. The T-37 is going to have to try and take care of that IS, or maybe even just allocate, for instance, a 5100 onto it. But still, that's the next crucial thing for GGWL Played. Taking down Turlo, and then not taking too much damage for their problems, trying to push on through the left side once they have that one down.
So, let's do it this way. Why would Ron take that tank over maybe your Bulldogs, your 1390s? Why was this maybe the option he opted for?
So they went for 6 tier 8s, 1 tier 6. Bulldog is tier 7, as an AMX 1390s tier 8. So they have 7 tanks, 54 points to play around with. They simply didn't have enough points to pick a tier 7 or a tier 8. So they just went for the best of the bunch, and the T-37 does fill that criteria quite nicely. 4 tanks now pushing in the line. The cap is going to be surprised, especially for Druiding Leprechauns. They're going to push around, push straight through, not stopping.
Let's see how this commitment goes. We saw DRL try something similar, but not to this extent, and 2 shells come in. International takes a bit, but Mondiablo gets into a position that he could make work here. And the cap now starting. Can GGWL Played show DRL how it should be done? 40 seconds on that one. Shots from Meritorious. Mondiablo coming in. Wilkie taking a bit. Bearing in mind there's a 5100, the T-37 still in the back. And they're going to try and hold on to those flanks as long as possible.
I want to see what Ron does. I think he's just going to be spotting what's coming out on the flank from Junior Leprechauns, and Phoenix will be the one in charge of dealing with it. Sensei pushing around Tolo is as well. As the second tank for Junior Leprechaun falls, that was Jack in the T-29, and I think Sensei might be following following suit really quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to expect Griffin here as well. He's going to push out, actually meet them on the front as Phoenix sadly doesn't land the follow-up shot, but he will do for this time of asking. Griffin coming out big right now to Hello, only in that IS, not going to be able to really withstand too much, but does manage to get that shell bouncing from Phoenix, but now down to pretty much a one-shot here. Will be taken down by Griffin. The cap continues, and DRL are absolutely lacking numbers.
Yeah, 3 tanks versus 7. This is surely game over as Wilkie tries to do as much damage as he can. Those ISs do finish him off though, and Largo will follow as Agenti, the only one alive in that 5100, also on reload.
I think GGWP Played have just given us a masterclass in how to do that northern cap. Final tank goes down, and GGWP Played make it 3-0. That's a huge scoreline already.
Yeah, 4-0 is the next only possible route for GGWP Played. The thing they'll be looking for going into the next map, that would be very bad, but we still have one more round to play.
True.
Again, they didn't look stretched. Soon as message went down, they had a huge advantage, and they just managed to capitalize on it, pushing forwards. And you could see that whilst Dreaming Leprechauns went for quite complicated, perhaps overcomplicated tactics,
Yes.
GGWP Played stuck to the basics.
See, as much as I love that positioning from Message, there's very little escape from that, and it's very much it works or it goes very badly wrong. It's the extremes there, and we saw sadly for DRL the extreme against them.
Yeah.
So Message going down, it was quite ingenious to an extent, but those 2 tanks on the hill, everything that GGWP Played pulled out was near on the perfect counter to this sort of position, even pushing those tanks up the 8 line and just being aware of it. And I absolutely love that. GGWP Played just seem to understand how they want to play this out. And even just, I think they pushed one player back from who was, towards the cap, supporting up in towards the north, came back down to support the push, coming around the flank, and just perfectly adapting to the situation present. And that just has to remind me of the likes of your Virtus Pros and your school buses back in their heydays, when they were prepared for everything.
Exactly. It was really, really cool stuff. I mean, it was even more detailed than that when you consider it, because Message actually spotted GGWP Played going forwards. GGWP Played just stood there. They stood their ground. They waited to those tanks on the hill to get into a good position. And then they all came around their various corners, and they all hit him with all their shells at the same time. So it was like perfect timing, perfect execution. GGWP Played showing why that, as you said, contenders against Virtus Pro. School Bus, I mean, sure, School Bus hasn't been doing too well lately, but they've won enough to be able to hold on as one of those top dogs despite a couple of rough patches here and there. So GGWP Played firmly in the driver's seat now, 3-0 up. Second round on an attack, we have to see what they can do. And the interesting thing for this round would be, clearly Dreaming Leprechauns aren't going to kind of lose a tank early on again. So what will GGWP Played do when they're on even terms in those first brawls, those first firefights, the pushes into the cap?
Well, let's find out. DRL are on the defense up in the north. They are adapting this time. Certainly a different position. The IS moving a little further forward, but maybe thinking, let's take Hillsdorf old school here and try and force them into a different game type. That T-37 will probably spot this out, though. Yeah,
the T-37 is going to get them on the cross straight away. Runs in the perfect position. It just seems like GGWP Played knows exactly what Dreaming Leprechauns are doing all the time. They're keeping tabs on them. They're spotting them out, and Ron just even getting out of there at the perfect time. He might still fall, but the rest of his team are behind him and in support, and probably in a little bit better positions, but they will have to reverse. The MX-5100 on the hill will have to support them perfectly as well. As you can see, they are doing a lot of damage, but Dreaming Leprechauns are winning in terms of HP for right now.
And I like it. A very decisive start, and this is very much the Himmelsdorf of yesteryear. Sensei, I believe that's Wilkie joining him, might find themselves in a bit of trouble here if Mary does turn that turret, but for now, just exchanging. Mon Diablo needs to be careful. This 2-man split is going to start hurting Griffin and Phoenix on the way around the back. This could be huge. Can they get the damage done before the other two get towards their teammates? Fire does come in. Mon Diablo does go down. Meritorious under pressure, but Griffin making up for it. Genti's gone. Message is next to Hello, gets the focus. Griffin has the shell, delivers it perfectly, and this is GGWP Played, possibly turning this one around.
DRL going forwards, trying to do some damage of their own, but so far not going so well. Internationals dispatches of Sensei in spectacular fashion, but the pressure continues from GGWP Played. Jack is from the side, but he's only playing the IS, so hasn't got a lot of HP to play around with, and Wilkie on reload will surely fall.
GGWP Played currently maintaining just a touch more health, but There are numbers with DRL. Wilkie, though, in between a rock and a hard place, stuck on reload, gets taken off it by International. And this looks like GG Well Played just spun it on its head, and now Message and Jack have to do something incredible here.
It could go the way of Drooling Leprechauns if they play
Largo's
this well.
Still there, yeah.
Largo's got a lot of HP. I mean, clearly GG Well Play has more, and they will be able to take down Jack as he goes around the corner. FC Dynamo makes a little bit of a meal out of it, but still, Largo takes him down to a one-shot, and I think International could be as well on 489 if Message gets very lucky, but I think it's going to be 2. First shell does land.
Yeah, Messenger not getting what he wanted from the first, and now the rest can start that fold. Largo's coming in, but took one on the way, and there's nothing for free here for DRL. They do manage to pick up one. That's International down, but at what cost as Griffin comes in, and that is a 4-0 clean Himmelsdorf from GG Well Played.
Not good stuff for Drooling Leprechauns. 4-0 going into the second map. Pretty bad. I think it was pretty close in that situation, but the AMX 5100 played by Griffin could come in and clean up, and that's what you want a 5100 for. I mean, both teams had 2 tanks at one point, but it was so much damage from Griffin, they just couldn't keep up for him, and yeah, great flank.
And I like the timing, bearing in mind the other 5100s for DRL were making that play through the center of the map, but this just caught off the rest of DRL, and I'm surprised they didn't account for it earlier, considering they knew the numbers that were on that 8 line. They had the vision, but no one was watching that back push. Yeah,
they weren't expecting that one at all, but I think the 5100s on the hill, Drooling Leprechauns couldn't have done much about. I mean, they literally, all they could have done is push further forwards, which they didn't really have enough time to do. So it was a little bit unfortunate, but still 4-0 down, and GG Well Played. I mean, like, everything for them was perfect. The T-37 in that position to spot out, they could kind of adapt with the 5100 coming from behind. So second map now coming up. It's going to be Cliff, where Drooling Leprechauns are going to be on the attacking side. So theoretically, they could pick up a couple of rounds, but still they'd have to pick up 4 in a row if they want to even get 1 point.
Tough game ahead for DRL, however. GG Well Played showing us they are certainly coming out in form. However, you guys at home, there's a couple of Finnish fans out there who will still be supporting their DRL boys, but Melly, how are those votes looking? Is it as one-sided as the game we're watching, or a little bit more even?
Well, the other side of the vote, not really. It's 66% for GG Well Played still, but not like up in the 90s or something. And if we have a closer look on like the exact predictions from you guys at home, you are not really predicting such of a uneven match, to be honest. They predicted something much more closer, at least either GG Well Played or Drooling Leprechauns fighting a bit more. It's now 4-0, and I really have very little 5-1 or 5-0 predictions. And well, I mean, there's a full map open, right? Yeah. It still can change, but
going to be pretty hard.
It's going to be really hard, exactly. So people, tell me what you're thinking about it. Head over to Twitter, use the hashtag WGLEU to get involved. Join the discussion in Twitch chat, of course. And if you want to maybe rewatch in the little break, which is upcoming, some VODs from last week, but not for too long, only 5 minutes, of course, just head over to youtube.com/WGLEU. Follow us there as well to get notifications as soon as we upload new video content. And of course, to rewatch everything that happened the season before. And people, as said, the vote is still open on facebook.com/WGLEU. Get involved, hand in your predictions, vote for your favorite teams, and maybe you get lucky and win one of 5 bonus codes. Okay, we will be heading into a break. We'll be back after 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere.
And welcome back to the WGL EU. We are into our first game here in match week 7, play day 2. Let's not break it down to that because it always gets confusing. But it is GGWP played up against DRL. We are still looking at who's going to pick this one up. It's a 4-0 scoreline. It's looking quite decisive, but it can still change in theory.
In theory, I mean, it would be very, very unlikely, but I think
I agree.
GGWP played will be able to take the next round. I mean, against WST Gaming, Julian Leprechauns lost when they were actually on the defensive side, so this might not work out for them too well, but they are going to go on the attack first. So if they can win those 2 attacking sides, they have a chance in the defense, but it would be extremely, extremely unlikely. Tank lineups are being locked in as well for both teams. Quadruple AMX 51, AMX 1390, 2251s, Ronin at VK 2801. And yeah, that concludes it for GGWP played. And for Julian Leprechauns, we got the 2 Bulldogs, 3 2251s, 2 AMX 1390s, and Toholo. Well, he's actually the second one playing in the Bulldogs. There's Wilkie in the T49. They all look so similar.
Yeah.
The icons are literally the same.
They are quite close, to be very, very honest. I'll allow you that one mistake. That's all you'll have for today.
I know, I should have looked at the hit points. It's the
should have.
biggest thing. No, my bad.
Person.
I know.
Let's say volley from that dire embarrassment into battle. Number 5 we go. It is currently 4-0. GGWP played on match point here. One more and they've won it. DRL need to go big or go home. And at the moment in the north in blue, it will be DRL on the defense, as Ollie said earlier, and on the attack, it's GGWP played.
I'll see what they can perform this time round. If they can perform any miracles, it will be really Julian Leprechauns who really go down here with 0 points. Tanks in the left side pushing up into E4. You got Phoenix behind. This is classic GGWP played kind of tactic, expecting the aggressive push straight away from Julian Leprechauns, and they predicted it perfectly, and they will be able to catch Largo as the first target.
Oh, I love that. Reading into how DRL mentally would come into this game, and Wilkie landing off a shell, doesn't get what he wanted. I can imagine Griffin still in this one, and I like this from GGWP played. It's smart, it's calculated, and it's showing their class in this. However, they now need to come up with the goods and actually get the damage done.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Julian Leprechauns did a good amount of initial damage, yes. I believe that was Largo went down quite low, but he's only playing the Bulldog, so it doesn't make a massive difference to Julian Leprechauns. They're still convincingly in this game, and they are doing some real damage. FC Dynamo falls thanks to Wilkie in that T49 with probably 1,000 damage shells. So big swing for Julian Leprechauns. Now they can win this one.
See if they can pull it through. FC Dynamo down and out, but the HP is still quite close here, but gun in the game comes into effect here,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, gun in the game, SD Dynamo out, that's a big deal, especially considering these 2-2-5-1s probably using HE. I mean, with HE you're doing about 315 average damage, 320 average damage. It's a big old chunk, and with 110 penetration, it really is enough to go through these tanks. So losing a 2-2-5-1 is actually really significant. And GGWP played will actually have to, for the first time in this matchup, play out of their skins to be able to win it. But Wilkie testing again, peeking forwards, trying to find another connection, but GGWP played not granting him that, as they do have the hill, but the push is being spotted by the players on the hill. They might be able to do some good damage. Message gets rammed by Tolo, rams Message even. That wasn't good. That was a bit of a traffic jam.
Yeah, and it's going to affect them now. The jig is up. Everyone knows Mon Diablo able to maintain, takes a good bit of damage then, but down to half, and still has shells to make, and the fold coming through. The pressure in mid going to be applied. Wilkie backing out, a shell to make. He's going to land it though. Griffin goes down. A massive hit there for Wilkie, hitting a massive amount of damage, but this is still on.
Ooh, Phoenix might fall. Jack does find him though. Wilkie still on reload, got about another 10 seconds. The side shots are coming in, but 2 tanks only remain for Julian Leprechauns, and GGWP played has double that, and I think they'll be able to take this one as Sensei gets tracked and on reload.
Well, 4 tanks against 2, the odds aren't looking good, but the HP is fairly even. That's a funny thing if you look at it, but as we say, gun in the game is so important. Keeping a tank alive, even if it's on minimal health, will still allow you to make shots, will still allow you to change the dynamic here, but with DRL on the defense, they can try and start spreading out, running away, and playing this to the time limit. However, 3 minutes and 32 seconds is a long time.
Yeah, it's plenty of time for GGWP play to take this one. Sensei receives one from Mon Diablo, who's in a great position to pressure him. Sensei wants to go forwards, wants to try and make that shell, but the F3 not particularly an accurate gun, so he won't be able to do that. The 3 tanks are going to collapse on him from GG Well Played, but Message just has the side of International, and I think International might fall.
Nice little crossfire setup here, but Sensei needs that shell to make and doesn't get the chance to deliver, as now Message left in a 1v4. 3 minutes. 4 targets. Still possible, gets one. Nice work there, doesn't take a shell back for either. Needs to be careful though. He can still do this in theory, but the more damage he takes, the less likely he gets. That's 3 back-to-back shots from Phoenix. Yeah. And I believe Meritorious actually doing that as well. So I don't see this one happening anymore. For
sure, he could one-shot Montiablo and easily one-shot Phoenix, but with all those shells just gone through to him, it's going to be hard, as he is now on a one-shot. Montiablo coming off reload in about 5 seconds time. Also has the higher ground, as Meritorious wants to finish this one off. Only hits his rangefinder, so won't be able to get the next shell, and Message does reply with one of his own, but Montiablo finishes the game off and finishes the series off 5-0 to GG Well Played.
GG Well Played just stomped it. Let's be honest here. We can try and lie to you and tell you as close. In theory, it should have been.
The show started less than an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, to give him an idea of that kind of speed.
And it's nothing to take away from how well GG Well Played actually took this one. They were clinical, but it made DRL look so easy to do it to. And DRL have been picking up close games. Yeah, they may be losing them overall, but I didn't ever expect a 5-0 result out of this. There's so much to be said between these two, but at the end of the day, DRL didn't show up, and GG Well Played just had their way with them.
For sure, it was really a one-sided story. Probably one of the least close games we've ever seen.
Yes.
As you do see this push from DRL, I thought the idea was good, and it did actually give them some sort of advantage for a small amount of time, but see how much damage Montiablo does to them, and really with no reply. I mean, he does take like 550 damage, but it's not a big deal.
He's still there.
He's still there. He's still got half HP. And, this is not good news for Drooling Leprechauns now. I mean, they are sitting in 11th place. Only Momentum is lower than them in the score table. And now another 0-point lead. We're going to see Momentum later against TCM Gaming. So potentially they could be dropping into last place.
Bearing in mind, this will put GG Well Played just behind Virtus Pro now. They're in second. And I don't know who I'd fancy out WSD Gaming and GG Well Played. Between those two, that's a tough one to call.
That's going to be a close game. But we've already had that game before, I'm pretty sure. And GG Well Played managed to pick that one up. But I think that's the kind of top results we're seeing at the moment. I mean, GG Well Played, you could see that they're classy, they're a good team, and also that they've been training a lot. They have what not many teams have in the league right now, is that ability to predict and to know what the other team is doing constantly. To have done that much training for these matches, to know what really the other teams are going to do, even if you haven't trained against them, is absolutely fantastic work for them. So that's definitely a deserved win. Yeah,
the whole sister team idea clearly paying off there, and it's really good to see. I'm surprised that more teams at the higher echelons actually don't do it. Obviously, there's a couple of clans in there who may have other kind of squadrons that they'll play against, and they'll kind of break it down that way. But two extraordinarily strong teams practicing against each other, constantly learning from each other. Bear in mind, the team in the Russian league will now learn how the EU teams play as well to a degree, because GG Well Played are playing against other EU teams. And you get this lovely mesh of styles. So congratulations, GG Well Played. You just showed us the biggest stump of the season thus far, so congratulations. However, you guys at home were still voting fairly closely, and I don't think you should have been Melly. I don't think they were wrong, but, it was a bit one-sided.
Absolutely. 71% for GG Well Played at the end. But fun part is that more people voted for Drooling Leprechauns ending this match as a 5-0 than for GG Well Played in the early stages of this vote. So there's kind of a mashup, and you were right at the end, but as said, not really a lot of people expected this ending and being this match so one-sided. So the vote is over, of course. It stopped after break. That's how our votes do usually after the first break, after the first match of every matchup. And the next vote will be up until well, as soon as you see me talking. That's what I was trying to say. I'm sorry. So in the meantime, we'll be heading into a 10 minutes break. So enough time to prepare some sandwiches, to get the sandwich talk again. And of course, to follow our platforms on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course on Twitch. People, we'll be back in 10 minutes. See you then.